Hey everybody, it's Jason Creel and this is the Lawn Care Life. I'm in the yard today and I'm going to show you some common weeds you'll see in your yard in the winter and on into the spring for that matter. And I want to actually identify them for you, and what we're going to do today is print the name of the weed on the screen. Sometimes people have a hard time with my southern accent, can't exactly tell what I'm saying, so we'll put the name on there so you can identify the weeds in your lawn, which is a very important step for controlling the weeds. Let's get started right now. Okay, the time of this video when it's being recorded is in December, and we've already had some freezing weather, so there's not many warm season weeds left. The cold weather has gotten rid of most of those, but the cool season weeds are alive and well, and I'm in Alabama, and this is in a primarily centipede lawn. So let's see what kind of weeds we see in the lawn today. All right, we'll start off with a fairly common one. This is a dandelion, though there's no flower. Now I will say there's dandelions and there's false dandelions, things like that, so I'm not 100% sure exactly which one this is, but anyway, should have a big yellow flower on it later on. You might have seen this weed before with the spikes on it. This is a thistle, and so not one that you're going to see a whole lot in your lawn probably, but I think that's a very clear example. Okay, moving over to this weed. What do you think this one is? I'll show you the back side of the leaf. Look at that. Almost white. This is cudweed. Real mats up. It can be a little bit tough to kill, to be honest with you. Or I should say not necessarily tough, but sometimes it's slow to die when you apply some sort of herbicide to it. Of course, I wouldn't consider this a cool season weed. This is just a grassy weed, but it's a good example of Dallas grass here, and very difficult to control in a centipede lawn. Sometimes multiple applications of Celsius and certainty is about your best hope for getting rid of Dallas grass in a centipede lawn. It's going to be tough to do that. You can also just, if you have just a little bit, just spray it with some type of weed killer and let the grass fill back in, but not a good weed to have in your centipede lawn. In the summer, your Dallas grass will put up a large seed head, making it pretty easy to identify as well. And you can see here some white clover. And white clover, there's a lot of products I've used on that. Change Up, Celsius, metsulfuron, which is the active ingredient in a lot of products like MSM turf and things like that. Work good on white clover. And here's a very common weed that you see in the wintertime. This is wild garlic or wild onions. Well, I'll show you the way you tell them apart. To my understanding, if you break the plant in two, see if I can, this one's gonna be hard to tell because it's so small, but if it's hollow, then it's wild garlic typically. If it's solid, then it would be wild onion, but most of the time I believe it's actually wild garlic. A lot of people refer to it as onions, but I believe this is wild garlic. But anyway, wild garlic, wild onions, metsulfuron is good for that. I like to use blindside if you want quicker control, but they're tough to kill with that bulb. Sometimes you can just pull them up if the ground's soft, but a tough weed to control. Here's a bigger one. Let's see if I can tell if it's hollow or not. Yeah, to me, I know it's maybe a little hard to tell, but that's a hollow on there, so that would be wild garlic, if my understanding is correct. This is not a cool season weed, but I want to show it to you anyway. It's a very good example. That's broom sedge, one of my nightmares. It's very difficult. Now you can't pull it up. Blindside does have some effect on it, but it's tough to get rid of, just to be honest with you. It typically can be a sign of very acidic soil. It's something we see around here a lot in just cow pastures and things like that. But anyway, tough weed in the yard. To be honest with you, if I'm out giving prices on yards from my lawn business and somebody's got a lot of broom sedge in their yard, oftentimes I just don't take them on as a customer because it's really difficult to get rid of. Okay, this is a big one. You'll see sometimes, look at the leaf structure on that. You have any idea what that one's called? This is called curly dock. Just a big broadleaf weed you see in the cool weather. All right, here's some more cool season weeds in the lawn. This is chickweed. You see there, it can really be a lot of it in the yard. This here, and this is small. This one thing I want to do is show you weeds at different times, because early in their life cycle, obviously they're going to be look different and sometimes be more difficult to identify. But I'm pretty sure this is purple dead nettle. Now it'll show a purple flower later, and a lot of times can be confused with henbit, but the leaf is shaped different. So I believe that one's purple dead nettle. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is lawn burrweed, B-U-R-W-E-E-D. And a lot of times, if you in the spring, people get stickers in their feet, or I guess burrs would be a better, more accurate way to describe it, and it's from the lawn burrweed. And there's a good example of Poa annua, P-O-A-A-N-N-U-A. Of course, it'll put out a little white seed head and gives you fits trying to mow it with a lawnmower, because it's just hard to mow. Just to be honest with you, got to get really low to be able to cut it. You see here, to me, this is at least worth showing, and I believe I'm getting this correct. You can correct me wrong if I'm wrong in the comments. You see here, you got your centipede grass, and similar to it, but a little different, I believe this is carpet grass. We control that with Celsius. As you can see, it does look similar, a little bit wider blade. And when it puts up a seed head, it's noticeably different than the centipede. It actually has a Y stalking and what I call a kicker that comes off the side of it. You see here, found it actually. There's our seed head. You see how it's got the Y right there, and then my camera zoomed in. It's got the Y, and then it's got the one. Got the one extra right there. So that's carpet grass. All right, what about this one? It's fairly young in its life cycle, but this is hairy bittercress. Very common one that I see in lawns that I take care of. Now, it's worth saying as I walk around and look for more weeds that a lot of these cool season weeds, if you're, just basic information, if you will put out a pre-emergent application before the weeds germinate, then you can prevent many of these from being in the lawn. Now, this lawn's not had a pre-emergent application, so you get a lot of cool season weeds. So when does that happen? Well, again, it depends on where you're going to live, where you do live, and the weather for a particular year, so it may not be the same each year. Me in Alabama, in the area I'm in, and we typically try to get our pre-emergent down sometime in September or so, before you start getting those cool nights in the fall. Because once that happens, that's typically when those weeds begin to germinate. And, at that point, you've got to go to a post-emergent strategy on how to get rid of them. Again, just showing you different things I find on the lawn. This is not this is Bahia grass. You can see it's kind of calmed down as far as growing and putting up the stalks like it does. But I find it easy to identify when you pull it up and you see the color of that. It's like almost a purplish tint that's at the base of the plant. So this Bahia grass that is in the centipede lawn. Let me show you one I've been noticing more lately. See this? It's called annual blue-eyed grass. Here's one that often gets confused with onions or garlic, but I believe this is Star of Bethlehem. And it'll put out a little pale yellow flower, almost white colored, later on. And it's a difficult weed to control as well. It's very difficult to pull up because it almost always breaks off before you get the actual bulb out of the ground. And I've tried blindside metsulfuron on it and don't seem to have as good a success on this weed as I do on the onions or garlic. So I've been using Katana on Star of Bethlehem and had some success using a product called Katana. Okay, I'm gonna run back over these real quick and give you an opportunity to identify them. May not get all of them, but I'm gonna show you the weed real quickly and give you a chance to guess before I tell you what it is. All right, no particular order here. What's this one? White clover. All right, what's this? Cudweed. Here's one we got too, right at the end. Actually, this is one I showed you before. I don't know if you can see it good enough. What is that? That's broom sedge. All All right here we've got purple dead nettle. What's this? Wild geranium. How about this? It's your Dallas grass. It's not a cool season weed. It's just a type of grass. It's a perennial. All right, what was this one? Give you the hint. Got the real purple color to it. That's your Bahia grass. Here's your dandelion, or possibly false dandelion. Thistle. Not this one. It's a tough one. Angel blue-eyed grass. What about this? Wild garlic. Save the big one for last. That's curly dock. Appreciate you watching the video. I'm Jason Cree. I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel. If you're in the lawn business, go over to lawncarelife.com and check out the resources available for you there, including weed control courses. If you're looking to get into the weed control and fertilization business, I have some resources for you at lawncarelife.com. Talk to you guys later. Hope it goes well controlling your weeds, and remember, putting out your pre-emergent at the right time is one of the best things you can do to prevent these weeds from showing up in your lawn in the first place. But you can talk about them once we see them and hopefully come up with a post-emergent strategy. One can't miss strategy on cool season weeds is wait till the weather gets hot, and that will definitely zap. And if I made any mistakes on the weeds, then please, in the comments below, you can correct my mistakes and tell me which ones I missed. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys later. Bye.